Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
How are ya?
First, I'd like to apologize to everyone who listened to Sunday's episode of the podcast because, fun fact, I just figured out that my microphone was not plugged in correctly for the entire recording.
And we had a bit of technical difficulties throughout.
Yeah, it was a good time. I can't say that this episode will be any better because my computer is still probably on the last day it will ever be alive, but we'll see. We're getting there. Otherwise, great. It was my first week back at school. It was very, very stressful because, as anyone who watches the news ever knows, thanks to an intense lack of respect, pay, and the huge amount of COVID burnout, we are going through probably the worst teacher shortage in the country ever.
Excellent.
And I work at a small private Catholic school, which means that if people aren't hiring teachers, we're pretty high on the not going to be fully staffed list.
Wonderful.
Um, so it's been a rough 2 weeks. And the teachers who have left to work in public schools or in high schools where they're getting paid more, we are like super, super supportive. We obviously, like I've always said, my school is a family. Like, I'm so happy that they're getting better jobs, but it has made things very stressful for those of us who are not leaving. And I am on the scheduling committee. And by that, I mean, I am one of the scheduling committee was three people. One of those was Dan. And so he got a new job. And so even though he's still helping me, he's not really on it anymore. So it's just me and Carrie. We are the scheduling committee.
Excellent. Excellent.
So it's been,
Well, you know,
yeah. And so because of that, I've been at work most of the week, but most of the time that I was at work, it was like doing scheduling and meeting new teachers and giving building tours and conferencing with like the office and the principal. And so like my classroom is not even remotely ready.
you've got like 36 hours or something. You got this.
That's great. But I did decide to change up the theme of my classroom this year and all my decorations and
Ooh.
everything. And I am creating a like Shakespearean forest in my classroom. Um,
What?
Dan and I hung up stuff on the bulletins boards yesterday that was just like green and black paper to like go with the theme. And in the mail yesterday, I got hanging wisteria and ivy that has fairy lights in it. And what else came yesterday?
I love that so much.
I don't remember. Oh, and a blanket. I have like a big cozy reading corner blanket that has like a big magic tree on it. And then tomorrow my packages include three crow statues, um, ivy border for the bulletin boards, giant floor cushion pillows that look like leaves, um, and something else for my classroom that I don't remember. But so I have to get all of that into the classroom. I have another bookshelf I have to get into the classroom. I have to go buy my gecko and get him set up in the classroom.
So you're gonna have all this together by Thursday, yeah?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no. I also did get unofficial approval to repaint my classroom, which here's the thing.
So you were meant to do this.
I was meant to do
But
this. And then my principal was like, don't do it, blah, blah, blah. But then the business manager for the school was looking at my classroom yesterday when Dan and I were hanging things up. And she goes, God, every time I see that paint, it's so ugly. And it reminds me of the teacher who chose to do it without permission. And she was like, it's just the worst. How do you even look at it? I go, so here's the thing about that. And we explained the situation of our deciding to paint it and then not paint it and then paint it. And then she was like, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. I'm not here on Saturdays.
Are you painting it today?
No.
Oh,
But sooner rather than later, I think sometime next week, Dan and I will be making a trip to Home Depot and we will be buying all the paint for my classroom and my bedroom.
nice. Nice.
And we're just gonna like sneak into the school and paint my classroom.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna need pictures once it's all together. We will post
Yeah,
pictures for you
it'll be
people.
great. So yeah, once I have all my lights and fairy stuff and pillows and blankets and everything, and it's beautiful. Um, I am gonna bring some more stuffed animals
Hmm.
because I know like middle school is not really like stuffed animal land, but like these kids, they need to love things too.
Absolutely. Everyone needs to love things.
Yeah. I've got a teddy bear and Sven from Frozen and my class llama in there. But I'm gonna bring some more.
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm very stressed. School starts on Tuesday. I don't have any of my first day of school PowerPoints ready. I don't have my classroom ready. I don't really know at all what I'm doing. I still have to train the new teachers on the reading system that we use for reading test scoring. Luckily, I get paid for the scheduling and for the training, and
Hey.
so that's nice, but I'm a little overwhelmed because it's just all happening so close. Like it's not like I have time to be prepared for those things. And that means that a lot of it will be happening while I'm also trying to teach. And I'm just remembering I had the most stress-free, happy, like living my life and enjoying it summer. And school's about to start, and all of that stress is just like reappearing in my body, and I'm like not living my best life.
We just switched stressful times because I was living through the most stressful summer of work.
Yeah.
So evened out a bit for me.
Yeah.
But you are totally gonna get this together and you're gonna do
The
great.
thing is, I'm teaching stuff that I've already taught. I'm emotionally and like mentally in a much healthier place than I was last year. I'm happy. I just have to remember all of that when I get stressed. Like I have to figure out that balance because I'm so used to like just being so emotionally like driven all of the time that like whatever I'm feeling in that moment is the only thing I'm feeling. And I
Right,
have to
right.
like, I'm gonna meditate some more.
Sure. You should. You should do morning meditations.
How are you doing?
Well, not to have a complete 180, but I'm well. um, I did something that I've never done before. I went to a place I've never been. Last Sunday, because I keep saying I'm going to take advantage of the train systems near me, I went to Philadelphia and it
Oh,
was so fun.
I
It was,
love Philadelphia.
I'd never been. I adore Philly. It is super cute. So my friend Zach lives there. And so I met him in Trenton and he drove me back and I got there like lunchtime. So we went and had lunch and, I'm so sorry. Caitlin is texting us about the cruise today that I'll be on in 2 weeks. But so we went and had lunch. We walked around the historical area and we looked at Betsy Ross's house, saw Independence Hall. I saw the Liberty Bell. It was just so lovely. And then, lo and behold, I had forgotten they had the Harry Potter exhibit at Ben Franklin Institute.
Oh,
And
good.
so I tried not to panic when I requested that we go because I was like, I don't want to make you do something just because I just saw it across the street and freaked out, but it'd be cool if we could go. So we did. And it was super fun. It was so cute. And they're doing a Disney one next year for 100 Years of Disney. And I am just, I'll be back in Philly, like, no questions.
Yeah,
And we went to this cute little brewery and had some beers before I headed back to the city. And I was back at like 10:30. Just spent the day in Philly and got so much done and had a great time.
I
And
love that.
and
I
now I
wish
want
Phil
my mom to move there
I
and my
wish
him too. But
I wish Philly was a better drive for me. I love Philly. I think it's so cute. I love the food. I love the history. I love like the weather. There's so many things like the markets. Like I just, but it is a little too far for a day trip.
It's an hour and a half for me, so it's very close.
Yeah, it's 6.5 hours.
Right, right. It's lovely though. If you haven't been to Philly, everybody should go. Everyone.
Yes, for sure.
Um, yeah, so that's how I am. I'm doing fine. I'm doing
Yeah.
well. Um, I have work today, so we are recording on a Saturday morning because
Yes.
we've had a week. Um,
Yes.
but you know what else will make you feel better
What's that?
from stress? Being spiritual.
I love that so much.
So today it is some women fear the fire, some women simply become it. RH, we'll say sin, could be sign.
It's me.
Yes. So we will be becoming the fire today. And on that note,
Yeah.
other things that are on fire, we watched Bates Hotel season 3, episode 3, and it was called what does that say? Oh, okay. It was called Persuasion. Um it is not related to the Jane Austen novel
In any way,
um
shape, or form.
in any way, shape, or form. I did question that when I read the title before I watched the episode.
Fair.
It aired on March 23rd of 2015, very close to our MK's birthday. Um,
Right.
Not quite there. It was rated 8.4 out of 10, which felt a little high for me.
Yeah, this was definitely not my favorite episode.
It had good things,
Yeah.
but that feels a little high for a rating.
Yeah, I think I really only have a page and a half of notes.
Um, I have a couple more.
Well, we take
Uh,
notes differently for the show.
yes. The number one song was still Uptown Funk, which seems to be our new happy, which I do like it better than happy. So like,
Right, but that's true because that's what that was. Like in 2014, literally nobody did anything except for listen to Happy. And in 2015, it was the same way for Uptown Funk. Like we like
yes,
it was weird and I hated it. And I was just like, new songs, please.
yes. Well, on a very positive note, the number one movie was Home, which is soups adorable. In
I
case you've not seen it,
love that movie.
me too. I watched it like in 2018 or 2019 or something after it came out because I didn't even know it existed for a while. And it is super adorable.
I think I watched it in 2016 when I was living in Florida because I was with my baby niece Skylar, and I think we just watched it just because it was bright colors. Like I really don't think she had any idea what was happening in that movie at the time. But yeah,
I rewatched it with baby Thomas when I went home for the holidays. So,
my sister just brought me Duncan. This is beautiful.
bless.
And oh,
Does
it's
it have
an
all
I
thousands of things?
no, it's just a French vanilla swirl iced coffee with 4 sugar and 4 cream.
Well, all I said was
Lovely.
large vanilla iced coffee with cream and sugar.
Yes,
So-
it's large vanilla iced coffee with cream and sugar, but because it's large, it's 4 and 4, unless you ask for less than that. That's how they do it at Dunkin' because they like understand that like the more coffee you put in, the more cream you should also put in to make it cream and sugar. Because that's how that works.
Too much.
But-
Too much. But
Figured that.
Yes.
Brie.
So Courtney said thanks, Brie. So yeah, Home was really cute.
yes, love
I
it.
don't think I've seen it again. It's like wasn't one of those movies that I was like, oh my God, I love it so much. I'm gonna watch it 850 times, but like it was cute.
No, I think I've seen it twice. I watched it the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again when I went home for the holidays with baby Thomas.
I
So,
love that.
yes. And on this day, there were two events
Okay.
that I found. Chris and Caitlyn Jenner divorced after 13 years. Big day, 2015.
I
And then
remember.
Lee Kuan Yew died, and he was 91, and he was the person who founded modern Singapore.
Oh, I vaguely remember both of those things happening.
I had
Unfortunately,
no knowledge of the second.
Unfortunately, the cultural impact of the first means I remember it more, which is
Right.
stupid, and I hate that about everything.
Yes, correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Um, and now, boy, have I got some notes for you. We have
Okay.
a new director. I know,
I
shock.
could kind of feel that though, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Tim Southam.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name. He is known for American Gods. Um,
Oh, American Gods. You know who
yeah,
wrote American Gods?
Neil Gaiman.
The
Gaiman,
book, but you know who was one of the main writers on the TV show?
one of our SG1 writers, right?
No.
Was it?
Our good friend who is not 7'8" tall.
Uh, uh, my bestie.
Yeah.
Paul David. David F. What's his name?
John Paul David? Paul David something? It's definitely what is it?
There's
Oh my
F
gosh.
there.
He was one of our Hemlock. For those of you who didn't watch the podcast from the beginning, one of the writers from Hemlock Grove, who is also a guest star on the show, is Paul David Frank. Is that what it is?
Paul David Frank. Paul
Maybe.
David.
Oh my gosh, she also brought me
Oh my God, we're
food.
friends on Instagram.
You are friends with him on Instagram. He's a writer. Um,
David Paul Francis.
David Paul Francis. I knew there was an F in there. David
He
Paul
got
Francis
there.
is a writer, and when I went to give facts about him when he wrote an episode of Hemlock Grove, IMDb said that he was like 8 foot tall, which is
Yeah.
not true. And so then I was trying to do research as to whether or not he was 8 foot tall, and I found a bunch of like funny things that he himself posted about the fact that he's not 8 foot tall. And then we ended up like communicating with him on the internet a little bit, and he followed Courtney on Instagram, and he's really great. And he is one of the friends of the show that is not really a friend of the show because I'm sure he's never listened to the podcast, but he's
Um,
lovely.
we're Instagram friends, so he's a friend of the show.
That's true. Joel De La Fuente and Paul David Francis are the
Yes.
only two like famous people that I genuinely are like, no, like we're friends now.
Right. Like we've spoken to them.
Yeah. So
Um,
he was one of the head writers for the American Gods show.
so I need to watch it one day, but I want to read it first.
Right.
Um, so Tim also was a director for Lock and Key, which is a show that I adore.
You just didn't you just rewatch or watch that?
Um, the third season just came out.
Oh, right. Because
I
we
watched
were
the
talking about
second
that
season
recently.
like 6 months ago when it came out,
Oh,
or ago or longer, but it's been a second.
yeah.
But the third season just came out, and I haven't
Oh,
watched it yet.
oh, okay. But you like 6 months ago you were watching the second one right when it came out, right? So it was like I feel like we talked about this within the last year.
Yeah, definitely within the last year for sure.
Okay.
Which is like a year for me now. My first episode was September 5th.
That's true. We're officially at a year of Courtney being the host of the podcast. Also,
That's like,
Sunday's Sci-Fi
yeah.
Sunday episode was the 150th episode
Oh my
of
God.
Death and
Are
Alien.
you sure?
I'm sure.
That's a lot of episodes.
We're at 151. There's now more Death and
The
Aliens than
amount
there
of
were original Pokemon.
No, the original Pokemon was
Was
151.
151, yeah. Or so this
We are
episode,
at the original
we're
Pokemon.
at the original Pokemon.
That's the episodes we have. Yes, he also directed Lost in Space and lo and behold, The Good Doctor.
Of course.
So,
Fantastic.
yeah. His spouse is Ida Holmes. There is no personal information about either one of them, but she did direct for a bit. And the
Okay.
one, she directed like three things. But the one thing that I would know her from was the 1998 great Barney's Great Adventure. She worked a lot with PBS.
I hate Barney.
I hate you.
The man who was Barney is actually a pedophile. He's in jail for
No.
touching children.
I understand. We don't have to like him.
My dad wouldn't let me watch Barney as a kid because he was like, something about that creeps me out. A man dresses as a dinosaur and hangs out with children. That feels like a pedophile. And then turns out he was right.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to like him. But I did grow up on that show. So,
I grew up on Teletubbies, so it's fine.
That's not great either. Um, we have two new writers. We still have all the originals.
Okay.
We've been keeping staff reg, same everything. We have two other writers who have added on. Um, Allison Evans. She was she's known as because she's the co-executive producer of Outlander,
Oh,
The
okay.
Jones, Chance, and she's the co-executive producer on Bates Motel.
Okay. Fantastic.
Um, the second is Steve. I cannot read my own handwriting. Kronaki. He was the story editor for Boardwalk Empire. He wrote the story for Outlander, and he has also written for Chance and Bates Motel. So these two people who have worked together multiple times have now come together to write on this show for this episode.
Sounds great.
And
Sounds great.
our guest star is Joshua Leonard, who played James Finnegan, who was the psychology teacher.
I knew that's who you were gonna pick. As I was watching it, I go, this is who she's gonna talk about.
Oh, that's not who I was gonna pick. And then I did anyways, which I'll explain later. I I had another person I wanted to pick.
Okay.
He's known for Hold Your Horses, the Blair Witch Project. Had no idea. Didn't even like cross my mind. Yeah, that's his number one known for movie. Right. Which would be hella dope to cover on the podcast one day.
I would
I have a
probably die.
lot to say about that movie.
I do too, but I've never watched it because it freaks me out so much.
That might be our next horror movie.
Okay.
Or we could do. Oh, I have so many thoughts. We'll come back to them. So he also did the movie, which I read the book and haven't seen the movie, and I love the book. If I Stay by Gail. The book is written by Gail Forman.
Yeah, I haven't read the book or seen the movie yet, but it's one of those things where I just keep seeing it and I'm like, I need to do that, and then I never do.
I really liked the book, and I never watched the film.
Okay.
I'm sure it's lovely. He also was on the new MacGyver. He had like one episode. He played Martin Bishop.
Okay, that was not a big enough character. I believe you. He looked familiar, but like not a big enough character to have impacted my brain.
And he is married to Allison Pill, who was one of the main cast members on Scott Pilgrim.
Allison Pill. Okay. Yes, she was one of the main cast members in Scott Pilgrim. That's great. But you know why Allison Pill is important? Because
Why?
Allison Pill was the best friend in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, which everybody forgets that that movie exists. And then she was in the movie Sleepover.
Okay, I didn't watch Sleepover. I did on repeat watch Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
Yeah, no, I'm obsessed with Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, and Allison Pill was the best friend who, like, she got to sneak around with her.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love her.
That's who he's married to.
I love that. They look like a
Like
great
it.
couple. I can picture them just having cute little ginger babies. I'm loving it.
And yeah, they are all over the planet with their interest between horror and Scott Pilgrim.
Well, here's the
And
thing. She might be into horror. She just like takes the jobs she can, and she's got like a cute little chubby girl face, and like that's not gonna be. She's like cast perfectly in the things that she's in.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is all of our notes from the intro because there were a lot
Yeah.
to introduce this week.
Right.
And moving into the episode, the last thing we saw last week was an upside down body in the water. What a way to end.
Yeah.
Which was a little extreme for how we started a little bit. I mean, we started well, but we started with our jumping all over the place again.
We did.
So we start at the Emmy's office, and Norma is coming to ID the body, who is expected to be Annika's. And she said, I don't know if I missed something, but when she walked in, she's like, "Oh my God, I think that's her. I recognize the toenail polish." And I was like, "Did we?
Yeah.
Toenail polish?"
No, we didn't. She just wore stripper heels and had intense toenail polish, so Norma noticed it, I guess.
But this color wasn't that intense. It was like a
No.
neutral
It
color.
was it was like the color of my hair, maybe.
maybe, but it was like it was dark and it was like not like a bright
Yeah,
in your
like it was like a dark burgundy red. Like the closest
right.
thing was to like my hair. I don't know how that would be noticeable.
I don't either.
But I said I literally wrote IDing a body on just toenail polish is impressive. Like if you're correct.
Right. And very quickly we find out she is not correct. It is not Annika, which is shocking to me.
I was so shocked. I rewatched it like twice, and then I also like wrote a note to myself that I couldn't figure out if Norma was lying and it was her, or if Norma wasn't lying and it really wasn't her, and I just like didn't recognize the girl at all, and I was baffled.
I mean, when you see a dead body, they do tend to look different. I mean, on shows it tends
Right.
to look different, so it's possible that like we wouldn't have recognized the body still. But when her face like just went like calm, like slack calm, I was like, oh no, it's really not her
Yeah.
because she relaxed a lot in the
Yes.
scene. And then she goes back home, and Norman is just like pacing, and he's nervous, and he just gives Norma the third degree. He's like, "What happened? Was it her? Are you okay?" And she's like, "I threw up on myself. It wasn't Annika. Everything's fine. Leave me alone." She was
Yeah.
just that way.
And then she was like, I have all these things to do today. I have this, I have this, I have this. I'm so stressed out. I'm tired of worrying. I just want to feel normal. And I was like, you keep throwing that word normal around, and I don't think you know what it means.
No, it's not a thing for you. You
No.
don't make it to where anything's
And
normal.
also, like, no one ever feels normal. Like, you can have the most boring, normal life, and no one, at least no one that I've ever met, just like wakes up and is like, oh, I just feel normal today. Like, no, your feelings are always intense because they're yours. You're never gonna feel normal.
Right, right. I mean, I do feel more normal than Norma. And
Well, I mean, no, I recognize that I am more
right.
normal than Norma. I am aware that I am
Mhm.
more normal. I'm no, but more normal. But every one of my feelings is the most important feeling in the world because it's
Of
mine.
course.
Because that's what
Mhm.
humans are. You're never just gonna be like, I'm just living my life like a boring housewife doing boring things, and I care about nothing because I blend into everything. Like that's not how you
No, that's
exist.
not how life
That's
goes.
a
No.
different kind of mental illness.
Yes, correct. Correct. Um, and we learned she's starting school today. She tells Norman to stay out of it, and we hit the credits. And I was like, all right, it's a pretty good wrap up scene before the credits. Where
Yeah.
they're really good at these like early scenes now.
Yeah,
Like
the pre-credit, like the cold open has been really good this season.
really solid. I wanted to stretch out, and Sadie was in my way. Um, so we come back, and we are at school now. And I was like, oh, this is one of those like new style cool classrooms where they're like, we're not sitting in desk, we're gonna sit in a circle and talk about everything.
I'd
And like,
rather die.
right, right. There's a time and place, but it's not the first day of class.
No.
I can tell you. It's like that is not what I'm about.
I've had theater classes that weren't in classrooms, that were literally in dance studios where we didn't have desks and we sat on a floor, and they felt less weird than that.
Yeah. I hate a circle classroom more than I hate anything in the world.
No.
There is no need for that. Um, and then the teacher, which is I understand it's supposed to be like, oh my gosh, whose seat is she in? It is very clear he's the teacher.
That's what my note just says, clearly the teacher.
Not a question. I didn't question it once.
Yeah, no, literally. Clearly the teacher.
Yeah.
That's no.
And she's super snappy with him, and she's like, just go grab another chair. Which, like, to be fair, like, yeah, just go grab another chair. Like, you didn't designate that this chair was the teacher's chair. There's nothing saying.
Also, it's the first day of school. No one in this class, and it's psychology 101.
Right.
No one in this class should have been in your class before to know that that's your chair and know that you're
Right.
the teacher. That's literally not what a Psych 101, like, no 101 class is like that. Don't be a douche.
Right. Like, you have a circle. How would anyone know where you go?
What is the head of a circle? It's
If
a
there's
circle.
a chair in the center, probably wouldn't sit there. If there's
Right.
a chair in the corner, probably wouldn't sit there.
If one of the chairs looks like the fucking Iron Throne, probably wouldn't sit
right,
there.
right. But just Joe Schmo chair, just let it go, dude. Let it go. Grab another chair.
Get over yourself.
So turns out she's in the wrong class anyways. She's meant to be in business. Um,
But he read her to film about why she should stay there, though.
he sure did. And like, he's a jerk, but he wasn't like super wrong.
Right.
Like, she does need help with her
Everything.
psychology.
Yeah.
Um, and then we go to Emma, and I just put, okay, Emma.
No, no. I wrote I am the uncomfy with them showing Emma like that. Like that was so sexual. And I was like, she is a child.
So it was, but I think what's happening is she's seeing Norman's reactions to all of these sex
Oh,
workers.
oh no, no, no. For sure, I got what she was doing. And then like in the scene where she like takes like when she sees him and she like takes off her sweater so that like her back is open and you can see her bra. I was like, "Oh, that is so me." Like I do things like that to make sure people are looking at me. Like I specific I specifically yesterday like I was going to see Dan and I wore leggings and he said something about how like he feels like his voice has been like lower recently. I go, well, yeah, it's all the testosterone because I wear pants like this and then like specifically bent over because I was like, I do shit like that, like for kicks. So I was fine with her motives, but the camera angles of her like pulling her underwear up when she's supposed to be 17 made me so uncomfortable.
Yes, that is very fair. That is very fair. Also, I thought she was getting ready for a date and she was just getting ready to work at the office. And I was like, okay, Emma.
I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah. And then we pop over to the Arcanum Club.
Oh, wait. There was
Yes.
also a scene because I kind of skipped because I was talking about Emma getting undressed again. When we got to the motel, they were towing Annika's car, and
Yes.
Norman's face freaked me out.
Yes. His face, I have a comment about his face coming out. It's,
Okay.
I have a whole thing I'm going to go into.
Okay, good. No, because I have multiple
Don't worry.
notes about his facial expressions, but that was the first time that I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that is correct. That is the first
Okay.
time. So at the Arcanum Club, Alex goes to talk to the owner. I imagine the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And they are talking about this party. He's like, "It's just a sex party, dude. No probs." And I was like, "This still gives me major Long Island serial killer vibes."
Oh, for sure. I was so team Alex when he was like, I'm not here to judge your sex parties.
Right.
I was like, yeah. But then, and I still team Alex, do not like this Arcanum guy, but he got so feisty. He was like, yeah, because I wonder who would be worse, someone having a consensual sex party or someone who runs the town's entire commerce so far into the ground that the DEA comes and ruins the entire town. And oh, right, there's a new election next week. I wonder why that is. And I was like, this man is a piece of shit, but he just attacked you so hard and you can't even argue with it.
It's not super wrong. Not super wrong. They might be killing people though. That's where my problem is.
No, for sure.
But-
Like I don't agree if they're murdering these girls, but like if you're talking
Baseline where he said it was.
baseline what he said
Correct.
is happening, he's right.
Yes.
Is his sex party actually like a creepy like who's that guy who probably killed the Black Dahlia?
Oh, the doctor.
Yeah, and the weird parties he was having. If
The
that's
Long
where
Island serial killer parties. They're all the same parties.
yeah, no, if we're talking about like
Starts with an
Dr. Dr. Yeah, Hodel, Dr. Hodel
Hodel.
and his weird like murder sex parties, I'm so not with you. But if we're just talking about like wearing weird costumes and like getting kinky, I gotta support you.
Do you? Do you, Bill? Don't kill people, but do you otherwise?
Right.
Um, and consent. As long
Yes. Consent is key.
Yeah. And so after we leave our sex parties, we go to Dylan, and he is building at his cabin.
Yeah.
He's building the barn thing for the drugs. And Caleb is still there, unfortunately. I'm so done with him, but like I know he's not leaving. I'm just so done with him though. And he's
I
like,
was at the beginning, and then toward the end of the episode, I'm like starting to have weird conflicting feelings about it again, and I'm mad at myself.
no, please leave. I am done with him. I am I've never been with him, but
I
I'm
know.
still done with him. I just like to
I know.
reiterate that I'm still not with him. So he's trying to give Dylan money to buy um lumber. And I was like, he's just trying to control you because the more he pays for, the more he gets to be in charge because then he
Right.
can guilt you.
I did, right? At least you're attempting to fight his control, Dylan.
Right. At least Dylan completely turned it down every time. He was like, no thanks, dude. Um, he was like, we're not doing that. And I was like, you are so smart. You are 22 years old and you're the only smart person on this show.
Correct.
Um, maybe Alex too, but otherwise.
I get Reddit notifications on my phone, and usually they're pretty good at like not being spoilery. And when they say something that I think can go into a spoilery conversation, I don't open the post. But somebody posted something on the Bates Motel Reddit page the other day that was like very, very spoilery, and with no actual like evidence of anything, but it said something that like irked me enough that I like was like, what about like Alex's character? But I didn't read it to know if it's an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm stressed out.
Well, stay tuned and we'll figure it out. Because we are
Almost halfway done with the show.
yeah, we're almost halfway through. It's wild. Um, sorry, it was time to turn the page and I did not. We go back to Norma now. And Alex goes to the Bates home because he wants to discuss the dead girl with Norman. And Norman's just like, hey Alex, how's it going? Welcome. We're having some dinner. And Alex is like, no, this is
Not
not
a social call.
And she's just like, what? And then she freaks out. She's like, no one needs to talk to Norman. And I'm like, dude, like, it's not Annika.
Right.
Norman has no ties to this girl. Like,
Right.
I think it's okay. I don't think anything's gonna come out. But she's just like
Correct.
panicked. And Norman is such a sociopath in this scene. He flips.
Okay. I had super conflicting feelings because again, it goes back to the whole like in context versus out of context. Because Norman being like, I did nothing wrong. Let me answer this man's questions.
Right.
You're talking
Fine.
shit behind my back. Like the pro independence, the him fighting back from his mom, the him like being like, no, go cook dinner. I can answer these questions. I was like, get it. Except for that also, no.
But also that sounds super misogynistic when he's like, go make dinner.
Well,
Like,
yes.
The way he said it. I didn't like the way he spoke to her.
Again, it's the
Yeah.
how versus the ooh.
Because, like, agreed. He can talk to Alex. He didn't do anything wrong. Him and Alex are, I mean, obviously Alex isn't going to convict him of anything ever. So whatever, like, may as well
Right.
talk to him. And, but then he was like hella rude to Norma. And while she may or may not deserve it, you still can't do that.
I know she for sure deserved it.
I mean, yeah, but
okay, but then also him like being like really cool and like chilling in the chair and like talking about it. I was like so creeped out by him.
yes.
But then I was also laughing hysterically because he was like, how did you know she was a prostitute? And he goes, well, she told me she worked at parties. I didn't think she was a magician.
I know, this was the moment I was like, Norman has flipped a switch.
Like
Entirely.
this is the first time you understand how. And like even Alex was like women really love you, like trust you. I don't get it. Like Alex could see it. I literally was like,
He's
Alex
like,
is
"Oh, yeah.
he was I literally was like, Alex is reading, like looking at you like you're Ted Bundy right now. Like that's literally like the full on like, well, I get women because I'm so close to my mom and I love women and they love me and I never did anything wrong, but I'm like so here to help you if you like. It was so Ted Bundy, it made me want to vomit.
Yeah, and he has never been this intense. He's always been so mild. He's always been like nervous.
But like even just the way he was sitting, like he was in control of that room and Alex was there for
Confident.
him and so I was
Makes me very uncomfortable and nervous going forward because
but
now he's in
then
control.
then in the scene still, I don't understand Norman again. Because when Alex showed him the picture of the dead girl, I literally, his reaction, I cannot understand it at all. Like I have zero idea what he was thinking. I'm
I
usually I'm usually pretty good at knowing like which version of Norman is thinking what and what is going on in his head. Nothing.
Well, that's the thing is I think that they've combined now and he's just this person. And he had a fascination when he saw that picture. That's the way I read his face. Was that even if he didn't do it, the idea of the dead girl still
Oh,
fascinated
because he's like
him.
turned on by dead body. Oh,
Yes, it's not great.
no.
Um yeah, and then Norman starts giving Norma the third degree. And he's like, why don't you trust me? All this. And he says finally, he's like, I think one of us is a problem, and I'm tired of the assumption being that it's me. 5 to 10 years ago, that would have been a valid statement.
Well, agreed.
Today,
But
he is
that
the
just the
problem.
intensity in that scene when he was like, "You have a problem." He was like, "You're mad at me for answering this man's questions, but this man only had questions because you lied to him about where I was and what happened. I dropped this girl off at a party and I came home. And the fact that you hate me so much and hate yourself so much that you decided that that meant I killed her is why he's here. So why are you worried about protecting me?" Like again, it's that if anybody else was saying these things except fucking Norman Bates, I would be
Yes,
all
stand up
over
for
it.
yourself. Right. It's puts you in a weird conundrum for sure. Weird place.
Yeah.
Um, and we leave that weird place to go back to the motel. And I actually enjoyed the scene was very funny to me.
Yeah.
So a girl pulls up for the like a busload of weed, and she's like,
It's
"I'm delivering
99
for Dylan."
plants.
Yeah, and Emma's like, "Oh, it's cool. I can sign for it. What's up? We'll just take it." And she's like, "Oh no." She's like, "This has to go to Dylan."
This is
And
not that kind of delivery.
right, and she's like, "Oh, well, I guess that's fine too." So this girl puts on a hair wrap, some sunglasses, and shoves all of these plants into her tiny car. And she's just
She's
driving down the road
she
surrounded by marijuana plants.
she's literally driving in a 1960s VW Bug with 99 marijuana plants and a straight up Elizabeth Taylor Marilyn Monroe convertible head driving headscarf. And I was like, I have never been more obsessed with someone as I am with Emma in this episode.
I loved Emma in this episode. She was killing me. And so she pulls up with all her weed in her disguise. And Dylan's like, what's up, Emma? And she's like, I have a delivery for you. Here are your plants. And he's just like, okay, thanks. Cool. And then Gunnar pops out and he's like, hey Emma. And I was like, oh no. Norman's gonna kill Gunnar over Emma.
I'm
I
sure.
which is a real bummer because I thought we were past that.
You know, I don't know that he will though, because I have a feeling Norman's not going to kill anyone over Emma unless because I don't think Norman is going to continue this ruse that he has feelings for Emma for much longer because I don't know if he's capable.
I don't think it's a feelings for Emma. I think it's ownership of Emma.
But he's so creeped out, like he can't function around her.
Right.
Like he doesn't know how to fake being normal around her because she actually has feelings for him and he
Right.
doesn't know what to do with that. And I don't know how long that's going to last. Like I mean, especially after everything that happened at the end of this
Oh yeah.
episode, like I don't think he's gonna kill anyone over Emma. I think he's gonna kill Emma before he kills anyone
I
over
mean,
her.
he also could kill Emma, but I,
Yeah.
I think that it's just going to be like he thinks he has power over her, and she's the one left. And if that
Yeah.
goes away, he's going to lose it.
Right. I don't know.
Um, but yeah, so then Emma meets Caleb, and there could not have been a more awkward conversation. Dylan's like, "Yeah, this is my Uncle Caleb," and she's like, "Oh, Norma's brother." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah," and she's like, "Cool, like, fine."
Right,
And
because you know she's gonna tell Norma or Norman that he's still there and ruin everything because Emma has a big
she
ol' mouth.
she does, but Dylan specifically asked her not to. And sometimes, if she doesn't know there's any danger, she might keep a secret.
That's true. And she is trying like because Norman's done the whole like don't tell my mom everything about me thing. And
Right,
she like weirdly keeps secrets for Dylan that she doesn't keep for Norma and
right.
Norman. Like I think she might actually secretly be in love with Dylan.
Well, I also put that if Emma and Dylan teamed up, they could take over the world. Like collectively, I think they could rule the world.
And the problem is they would both end up getting swindled by someone because they're just naive enough to like fuck it up.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Um, yeah. So we leave on that note with Emma potentially keeping a secret for Dylan.
Right.
Yeah. And we go back to the school, and our psych teacher has chased Norma down to apologize for being a dick, which good on you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Like that was good. Then he starts offering her therapy. He's like, BT
But
Dubs, you
but he
need.
kind of did it in like a really genuine way.
Well,
And
he did.
I mean, I don't know that he's a good person, and I do feel like just like awkwardly telling someone to go to therapy is weird.
Yes.
But my note was like, God forbid a kind man who seems to have actually good intentions wants to know you, Norma.
Right. Like he says that they're both from the secret club of the damaged. And I was like, that's really kind. And then I was like, I
I
don't like this guy, but I agree with him about Norma. And I don't think
right.
what he's doing is necessarily
I
wrong.
also just feel like we should all just like be cool and like I want a jacket that says Secret Club of the Damaged.
Oh God. I also want that.
It's like the Hellfire Club, but like
Right.
more fucked up.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Yes. And so he's like, here's my business card. Give me a call if you ever want to talk about it. And she's just like, yeah, yeah. And she like crumbles it up and throws it. And then after he leaves, she like gets out of the car and grabs the card again. I was like, oh my God, is Norma gonna go to therapy?
I was like, I'm so glad she picked it up. I love it.
I know. I was like, at least we have that hope left.
Yeah.
And sorry, I got very distracted when you moved up.
Sorry, I was fixing my computer screen. I
That's okay.
apologize.
And then we have another talk with Alex, and he's talking to one of his deputies, and they're talking about how the dead girl is a high-end sex worker and this and that, and what they're going to do about it. And then this guy Marcus Young walks in, and he's like, "You need better security." And it's like, first of all, I think it's okay. People tend to know everyone in the town. It's not like you looked like you were about to hurt anyone. Um, but it turns out that he is running for sheriff because he's been the sheriff of a town for 4 years outside of this
In
area.
Missouri.
Yeah, and I put, oh, he sucks because he's like, yeah, my daddy's friends think I would do well here. It's like, yeah, you know, you sound like Draco Malfoy, and we do not need you running this tiny town that's already got a lot going on.
My notes about the scene were one, Marcus gives me the ick on every single level.
Mhm.
And two, Alex has the people skills of an amoeba sometimes. Like I love him. I love him. And he's so good with like weirdos, but like his inability to like have that conversation at all or like even pretend like this man is running against you for sheriff. He clearly knows people, and I get it that you're rough around the edges and that's your thing, and like you know you run this town and you know you own everything. But like your inability to even fake nice, just too much for me.
No,
Like
but
he's like, I'm really glad you got to see this office. It'll be the last time you're ever in here.
I know, but I will say, I don't think anyone but Alex could run this town.
Oh no, I'm 100% sure that Alex is gonna lose the election and that
Absolutely.
Marcus is gonna become the sheriff and Alex is gonna become unhinged.
The whole town will become unhinged.
The whole town will become unhinged, but Alex specifically will become unhinged
Yes.
because he knows too much and he has too many secrets, and then he's gonna go down a rabbit hole and it's gonna be a shit show.
Not gonna go well for him.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
No, I do think that's what's going to, I mean, the top people left in town now are the Arcanum Club. And that's who I assume Marcus's daddy's friends are. So they're going to put him in office. And
Well,
it's not,
with the both of the drug families gone, sex is the only thing running the town left.
I know.
Yeah, no, Alex is gonna lose and he's gonna become unhinged and it's gonna be interesting.
Good times. It'll be a good time. Um, so we have a brief moment where Dylan goes back to the cabin and Caleb is playing guitar and he has bought the lumber that Dylan specifically told him not to buy. But I hate him and I want him gone. And Dylan is miserable. He's just like
Yeah.
trying to accept it, but he knows it's not good
Yeah.
and he doesn't know what he can do. I mean, what can you do?
Kick him out, punch him in the face.
Well, that, but obviously that's not going to happen. I've been
Right.
asking him to do that for 3 episodes now, so
Yeah.
unfortunately, he seems to be sticking around. Um, then we're back at the motel, and Emma and Norman look like they're probably doing their schoolwork, and Norman's just like, I don't think my mother trusts me. Really? Now we think that?
I can't imagine where that came from.
Little slow on the take there, Norman. And Emma's like, yeah, she can be demanding. Not to me, but like I see what she does to you. Like, okay. Okay, Emma. And he's like, she thinks I'm bad. Well, if you'd stop killing people, she wouldn't think that. And then Norman just like starts yelling about it and just runs away. Like,
I was like, Norma, don't you dare yell at Emma like that. And Norman, don't you dare yell at Emma like that. And then I also wrote, Emma, absolutely, you better break up with him right now. If a man
yep,
ever yells at you like that, break up with him. No questions. I don't know why are we still allowing toxic men in 2022?
we should not be. We should
No.
not. And in case you didn't hear, as he was running away, he says, I can't stop it. It's her. And I'm like, is it her taking over you? Is that the her you're speaking of? Because I don't think it's just the effect she's having on you as a person. I think it's the effect your mind is playing on you when you become her.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So then
That's a
Norman walks.
great line of dialogue.
Yeah, I thought so too. And Norman walks inside and he's just glaring at Norma. And she's like, what is happening? She's like, you can't, what is happening? And so he starts yelling about her, about Blair Watson and all this stuff. And he's like, you killed her and all this stuff. And she's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he runs off and he is losing it. He just starts like slamming his bed up and down and he's just yelling. And then finally he's just like, go away. We can't talk. And he didn't even black out. He just lost it while he was still himself, which is not great when you're
No.
losing your mind.
No,
Um,
especially because his defense of saying that he didn't kill Annika was because he didn't black out.
right.
He knows that he blacked out when his dad died. He knows that he blacked out when Blair died, but he didn't black out that night, so he couldn't have killed Annika. But here he is, rage throwing his bed without blacking out.
Right. So we have progressed. Never a good thing. And next thing, another great scene. He looks up, he's washing his face, looks up in the mirror, and his fake mother is in the background.
Okay, two things about this. One, hallucination Norma, creepiest thing ever in terms of just the way she talks to him.
Incredible acting.
Incredible acting. I want to give Vera for me. I don't know how to say her last name. I always hate for me. I like it. I'm like, there's a G in it, but I don't think you can say the G. And like, I don't know. I'm gonna mess it up every time. I want to give Vera all the props because playing Norma, who's so intense that many different ways, is amazing. But also, I want to give all of the props to the hair and makeup and wardrobe because the fact that like there was zero doubt in my mind that it was a hallucination because it was the perfect polished season 1 episode 1 version of Norma where that is not who she is anymore and like in his mind she should still be that like and that's why like season 3 the super curly hair and the more like she moves away from that like 50s housewife the more his hallucination gets to be stuck in that and it's so good.
So good. That was probably my favorite scene in this
Yeah.
episode was when she appeared in the back of the mirror and we move into this hallucination scene.
It's just so well done.
Yes. And we learn that he doesn't actually remember if he killed Annika or not. He that's which is probably why one of the reasons he's so angry
Yeah.
because he's fighting it.
Yeah.
And
Because I think there's still a part of him that wants to be a good person. He just
he
can't.
does, right. And Norma tells him to recreate the feeling of being trapped in the box, which is the creepiest
She's
thing.
like, just get in the tub and drown yourself. You'll remember.
Right. And like this seems to be a useful tool for him because he does remember. Also very dangerous.
But here's the thing, he doesn't remember.
But he starts to
He starts to have memories of things, but they're disjointed. It's not the same way as when he was remembering Blair.
right.
And then when he comes to again, he asks his mom, what if I did kill her? But we know he didn't.
Right. Because he didn't see the end of his disjointed thoughts. But Norma's crazy is, I think, all nurture at this point.
Oh,
Not
that's the thing. Like, she's a little bit crazy. I think she's got her own shit going on. I absolutely think she needs therapy. I think that she is protecting Norman in the wrong way because I think she should lock him up and get him real
Right.
help. But I don't think that she's ever been ill-intentioned about it. Like, that's
I don't
the
think so either. And
I don't
it's
think
so
I can ever say that she's not healthy, so her protection isn't healthy, but I don't think she's ever had anything but the best intent.
like in her heart, if you were to look at it, it is all good intentions, all the
Yes.
best.
It's just that she doesn't know what that means because she's never had it, which is why therapy man should have come around a lot sooner.
Maybe a lot sooner, maybe like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But as soon as he says, "What if I did kill her mother?" Norma just like, "I'll be back," and runs away, sobbing.
Then she just kept saying she
And
was sorry, and I was like, who are you apologizing to?
yeah, I also was wondering that. But instead of getting an answer, we get headlights. And she walks outside, and
I knew it.
Annika's
When I saw the
back.
headlights, I was like,
I
Annika's
know.
back. Annika's back.
And Annika walks out, stumbles out, let me be clear, stumbles out of the car and falls on the ground while Norma's trying to talk to her. She's bleeding and she put something in Norma's hand. And I was like, what did she just give her? And she's like, use it for you and Norman. And I was like, what is happening? And we see her calling emergency services and looking at her
Okay.
hand, and she has
I
a
was
flash drive.
call Alex right now. And she didn't call Alex. She called 911. Like, and I get it. I get it. Like, she did technically the right thing because the police should be there and not just Alex. But, like, you know what's going on. You know what the investigation is. Why did you not call Alex immediately?
Right. I mean, that is
Also, why did
fair.
she not use her cell phone?
Maybe she didn't have it on her. Maybe it was inside.
Maybe. I
Because
don't
she
know.
just ran out of the house.
It's true.
So we have a flash drive now that's meant to help her and Norman. And what does that mean? We'll never know because that's
No.
the end.
I know. Yeah. What?
Yeah. So on that note, who do you want to punch in the face?
Marcus. That's a really out of nowhere answer, but like, fuck that guy.
Who's Marcus? The guy from the club?
No, Marcus is the new maybe sheriff.
Oh, Marcus Young. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really out of left field. It really caught me off guard.
I don't know. He just gave me the ick so much. The way he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, homicides are really hard," and he was like spying on the desk, and I was like, "Nope, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, no, I'm over him. I picked Caleb. I just hate him. He keeps doing things.
Yeah.
He's trying to act like he's this like gung ho cool uncle, and it's like, no, you're really a terrible person. Like, go away.
But
And
again, here's the thing. Here's my only thing. And I know, and we've fought about this before, but if we can acknowledge that a lot of Norma's character flaws are because of her shitty upbringing, I don't know why we can't acknowledge the same for Caleb.
because he continues to choose bad things, and she.
But is he though? But is
Yes.
he?
Yes.
We don't
do.
know at this moment. We don't know that he's trying to develop a relationship. He knows Dylan is his son. He's trying to develop a relationship. He's doing good things for Dylan. He's okay with being a secret so that it doesn't hurt Norma's feelings. Like, maybe there is ill intent, but maybe there's not, and we're not giving him the benefit of doubt that we're giving Norma.
Mm-hmm. Nope. You're correct. I am not giving him the benefit of the doubt that I'm giving Norma. Norma never had a chance,
Neither did he.
but he chose a lot of his actions even when he didn't have a chance. And even if they came from a bad place he was raised in, not from, he still actively made a choice where she did not.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's so many layers to that we're just ignoring because it makes it easier.
I will hate him until they give me a reason not to.
Okay.
Just,
I can't make that decision for you. I don't know. I have a hard time with making anyone on the show black and white bad person because the show is so gray on so many levels.
totally fair. Who's your MVP?
The thing is, I think I've picked Alex every week for the last like 9 months, so I can't really just he wasn't. No, I think I have to pick Alex purely for the scene where he was like, "You might be a serial killer."
Right, yes. Fair. I picked Dylan because
Okay.
I also keep picking Dylan because he's the
Yeah.
only one keeping it together. He's the only one making the right choices. It feels like even if
I will say I also entertained Emma,
I did
but
too, she would have been
and
my.
I also entertained Annika.
I just
I
she
mean,
caught me off guard.
it caught me off guard. I don't know what the answer is, but like the fact that whatever she did or whatever happened, she wanted to make sure that Norma and Norman like were protected from it.
Fair.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's a good reason to pick her. She caught me too off guard that I couldn't even consider her.
That's fair. But so I think those were the other ones I entertained, but I think I do need to stick with Alex because he can see the crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He can't really do anything about the crazy, but he recognizes it, which is
Excuse me.
more than most of us.
Yes, correct. So I have a bit of trivia for you.
Fantastic.
See, so sorry, she's trying to eat my scone.
You can't
So
have that.
the reason that I picked Joshua Leonard as our guest today and not anyone else was because him and Vera Farmiga were both in Higher Ground together, which is a movie
Oh,
I've never seen. But
okay.
I wanted to mention this trivia, so I wanted to have already talked about it.
Fantastic.
um, in the scene where Emma is driving the marijuana that was to Dylan, that was meant to match the scene where Janet Leigh is driving off with $40,000 that she stole.
I told you the way the headscarf and the glasses were, I was like, that is such an homage. Such an
Yeah.
homage.
Yes. And another nod was the mention between Caleb and Dylan. One of them mentioned using redwood instead of all of those other things, which was
Yeah.
a nod to Sons of Anarchy because the first chapter of the original of the clubs or whatever, I haven't seen this, so I'm
Yeah.
making the rest of this up, was the redwood original.
Right. And that other guy who's out in the woods with them is from Sons of Anarchy.
So was
And so is Caleb. Or
mhm.
yeah.
So that was a nod to Sons of Anarchy. And that's what I have. Do you have some thoughts, predictions?
Well, my big prediction is the whole sheriff race gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna hope that Norma tries to go to therapy, and we see that.
That would be great.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I'd like to believe it will.
Fingers crossed, really.
I just make my predictions based on what I want to happen, not what I think is gonna happen.
I also predict that Emma is going to continue on this path of like trying to sexualize herself for Norman until she becomes so sexualized that she becomes
A victim.
like Blair and Annika, like, and puts herself in the category that he would murder.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
And that's why I think it'll be her, not Gunnar. That
Why not both?
eh,
Okay, let
I mean,
toss.
can just like everybody die by the end of this?
Yes, may as well.
I mean, at this point.
Except Alex Dillon.
Fine.
Yeah. So I guess that's our final thoughts for this week's episode. It's been fun. You can let us know your thoughts, predictions, whatever feelings you have at deathandaliens@gmail.com, all over the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
Oh, and you can follow me at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will be back for Sci-Fi Sunday, celebrating Stargate.
Oh, and also happy season opener to the Bills tonight. Today's Thursday, Thursday night football
Hey.
against the LA Rams. Football. Woo!
I think we're not till Sunday, so good on
Yeah.
you. Good luck, Bills. Oh, Josh Allen's my quarterback for fantasy football, so
Hell yeah!
I am in.
All
Fun
right.
times. All right. We will see you guys
On
on
Sunday.
Sunday. I forgot what day it was. See ya.
Bye.